2.3 million live in 2011, and you were still number one online.
Yeah,
how do we even juggle these two to stay ahead of the game while you were number one online? Because that was just a fantastic year for yourself.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I didn't do a lot other than play poker. Like, actually, it was the start of 2012 that I realized that, you know, I needed a bit more life balance, and I sort of New Year's resolutions. I hit up Jason Kuhn in Facebook chat, and I'd sort of just been eating really bad, put on a ton of weight, like just through poker, and I was feeling bad about myself. Like, even though I was doing amazing at poker online and live, feeling really good about that, I just wasn't feeling great about life outside of poker. So that's, I think, like why I kind of almost dived into poker even more, because that was the only thing that was giving me happiness. So I kind of, start of the year, you know, everyone gets New Year's resolutions. I was like, okay, I need to make some changes here. So I kind of, on a whim, hit him up and said, oh, I was living in Cyprus with some of my horses after Black Friday at that point. And I was like, well, do you fancy coming to Cyprus, and I'll back you for some EPTs and stuff. And if you'll sort of be my personal trainer and chef, it's like kind of like a trade-off, because I knew he was like the healthiest guy in poker. And so I kind of just, at the time in my head, I did it to like make myself, you know, at least I'm trying. I didn't think he'd jump at the idea or anything. I just thought, yeah, at least I can tell myself that I'm trying to make a change. And then he like was like straight away, he was like, okay, I booked the flight. I'm then in 3 days time. I was like, oh shit.
I've got to do this.
At the deep end, I went from like not going to the gym for sort of 10 years to going like pretty much every day, and not, you know, he was cooking clean food. And yeah, I mean, I had like 2012, I think in the first 6 months, I ended up losing like 50 pounds or something. So it was a big change, and something that I really needed, because it was getting, just seemed, it was one of those things that I had let it slip so much that it seemed like it was unattainable, and I was never going to do it myself. So I needed to kick up the backside kind of thing. So yeah.
Awesome. We've got 30 online Triple Crowns. Now,
yeah,
for people out there that don't know what an online Triple Crown is, just tell them how good you actually are. What is the Triple Crown?
It's pretty easy, really. You just have to win three tournaments with a 10K prize pool, and you have to have over 100 people in them. Yeah. But in a week, but they have to be all on different sites as well. So that's the harder part. Is, you know, if you're playing every day, you play a lot of tournaments, so you can win 3 tournaments in a week. Not too, you know, it's not too out of the ordinary, but winning 3 on different sites, you know, a lot of time you get the first 2, like Poker Stars, you know, pretty easy one to get because you're playing a lot of volume on there, and then you get the first 2, and then it would be really hard to win the third one because you'd only have a couple of options to win the third one. But yeah, once I was kind of, that always inspired me to, because, you know, like week to week the grind can become a bit monotonous. But, you know, say I won 2 tournaments on 2 different sites on the Monday and the Tuesday, I'm like, okay, now I've got 5 days to win. So I was like, okay, I've got to be in every day, otherwise I can't win it. So I like got hooked on winning them. And you know, you don't get any, there's no real other incentive for it, but it was definitely like something I strived to do. And like, I wanted to be the leader, and once I got in the lead, I didn't want anyone catching me, so I kept grinding them hard. But yeah, I always wanted the live one, but it's eluded me so far. I'm two-thirds of the legs through, but yeah, 30 online is not too bad.
Well, yeah, that 2007 your first online Triple Crown, and 2019 your last. That's incredible consistency over the years. Do you think 30 will ever be matched?
It's like weird, because it's like, it's much harder these days, because you know, like, people don't put their screen names out there on some of the sites, and back then there was more sites you could play on. You could play on PokerStars France, Winamax. I mean, now I think you have to have like a European bank account and stuff to play on Winamax. So there was a lot more options. Now now I live in the US, I only really get to play PokerStars and that when I'm in UK, or like travel for a series to Canada. So yeah, now it's pretty much impossible for me to do it. And other people are like, it's not as easy with less sites. So who knows? I mean, you know, so what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure someone will beat it one day, but you know, it's fine.
Well, I was gonna say, do you think you'll ever get it back, or all the grinding days, the long nights, the long days, have they just gone now? Is it the last time you were number one was 2014?
Yeah.
So and you've just more or less said that grinding nowadays like that is just a thing in the past. Is that number one slot gone forever?
Yeah, I'm sad to say it, but yeah, I don't think I'll ever put in the volume to get it back. Like, I'd have to, you know, like what I'd have to do is like, you know, win one of the huge tournaments where it's like 2 or 3 million for first kind of thing that they have once a year, and then you know, and then still have the sort of heart to want to get it after that, because you obviously you get a lot of points for that, so you could you know, if you put the volume in for a couple of months after that, you could theoretically do it. But then, you know, if you just won 2 million, are you really gonna want to play poker every day? But like in my head, if I did that, maybe I would try and get it back then. But yeah, I don't realistically, been there, done that. But yeah.
Being the best in the world is never something bad to be said about anybody, and you've done it on more than one occasion, so it's always in the bank, it's always there. But one of the reasons why you lost the number one spot is because you went on and won a WPT. Just the LA Poker Classic, 534 runners and just over 1 million. Is it a big relief having a WPT?
Huh?
Was it a big relief at the time, getting yourself that WPT?
I mean, it was just a big relief finally winning heads up, to be honest. I was like, oh, you know, Dempsey was always giving me shit for losing heads up. So I was like, if I lose this one, he's going to have a field day. So yeah, it was just nice. And also at the time, I'd actually been on pretty much my biggest ever downswing. I had to get the backing of horses has gone really bad. I'd had to get rid of everyone. I'd actually sort of, even though I'd won all those tournaments before, I'd not been smart with the money, and I had to pretty much start all over again. I was down playing low stakes, $10 rebuys, like the lot online. I still enjoyed doing that anyway, but now I actually needed to like build my bankroll back. So I hadn't really been playing any live poker for sort of a year. I'd just been taking a break and playing online, trying to build back to bread and butter, build sort of my roll back. And I've been in quite a negative place as well. You know, I've been that guy who's sort of been seeing other people winning and moaning about it and saying, "Oh, I'm better than them." Why that? You know, just like the guy you don't want to be, really. And I started working with well, not through choice. Like my wife basically had enough of me being like negative, so she sort of put me in contact with this mind coach guy, Stephen Simpson. And he'd worked with a couple of people that I knew, like Liv Barry and a few other people. So I gave him a shot. He actually flew to Vancouver. I was playing online in Vancouver at that time. And he flew to Vancouver on a whim, didn't offer him anything at the time. He just said he wanted to have a meeting. He'd obviously read up about me and knew that, you know, I had good potential as a client and stuff. And I met up with him. I came in pretty like, I just meet the guy, but like, nah, I'm not going to work with him. But I actually got a lot out of it, and met with him a few times, and went on a good online heater, enough that I was comfortable sort of buying into this 10K event and just selling a bit of action to a friend. And yeah, played the live tournament and just ended up winning it. It was surreal. It was crazy. Like, it still feels not real to me now, because I've been in such a sort of bad place, not doing well, and in the space of a couple of months of talking to this guy, it sort of flipped my mindset completely. And I still work with him to this day, you know, like five plus years later, just check in with him once a month or whatever, and really recommend it. Like, but it's so, at the time I was completely against it. I was like, I can sort out my own problems, but really, you know, two heads is better than one, especially someone who knows what they're doing, you know. So yeah, like I came into the final table. The final table, it was one of those ones. The final table didn't even go to plan. I was chip leader with 4 left, and then I basically threw away a lot of my chips with some dodgy hands. Misread my hand on the final table, one hand where I thought I had a straight. I think the board was like 4, 5, 6, 7 queen. So pretty scary board. And I thought my opponent just had like a queen, so he wouldn't call that big of a bet. And I had Jack 3 of hearts in my eye, so I missed the flush draw on the flop, but I backdoored into like the low end of the straight.
Yeah.
So I was in my head, I was like, okay, I don't think the guy's going to call more than like 50% pot here. So I bet 50% of pot on the river, and he's tanked for a couple of minutes and called. I'm like, okay, good, got max value. And I go flip over my hand to show the winning hand, and I actually had Jack 2 of hearts. So I didn't have the straight at all. And so like obviously, and in my head, you know, if I had known I didn't have the straight, I would have, against this guy, I would have bet a bit bigger, because I didn't think he would call a bigger bet. So yeah, I gone from that. So you know, that's the swing of being chip leader to being last place. Like, you know, the stacks were that close, and somehow I ended up coming back and won a freeway all in with 3 left, which was just probably my most memorable hand of poker ever. To like get heads up, and then after doing that, I was like, I have to win heads up after, you know, being 1 card away from being eliminated, and this time I have to win, and I did. So it was amazing sort of feeling.
And then 2017, we get the bracelet. We get the bracelet, the 3K6 max.
Finally, yeah.
Just short of 1,000 entries, and it's really weird because the video's been online in the last few days. Can you remember that rail? What's it like having a British rail, man?
Yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, especially because like the last few years, like, you know, the World Series hadn't been that many final tables for British people, and so yeah, it was nice to sort of. I was telling everyone, I just want to get a final table so we can have some positive sort of morale and have a British rail, and, you know, layer up a few spots. And yeah, and the final table was like one of those dreams that, you know, normally you wake up from and it's like, you know, you realize it was a dream, but like I just ran so hot on the final table. Against the other big stat, the other best player at the table, I had top set in a 3-bet pot against him, and he had top 2 pair, you know, for all the chips. So that basically allowed me to sort of bully the rest of the table. I get heads up with this Brazilian player, good online player, and then he makes a comeback, stalemate. We're playing heads up for like 3.5 hours or something crazy, you know. And I was just like, oh my god, am I ever gonna, you know, win one of these things? And yeah, to finally get over the line was, yeah, it was really, really cool, and just have all your friends there cheering for you. It didn't finish till like 4 in the morning. It was late finish, but we still went out afterwards. Yeah.
When you stood on the back rail and everybody's behind you and you're all looking up at the screen and you're waiting for the final card to come, and then they just mobbed you. Just fabulous.
Yeah, I think I got in trouble for breaking the TV or something. Someone pushed me into it.